I'm Trey, this is my wife Tiffany and daughter Kenna, and we exist to bring the gospel to the unreached people. We were living in a small country town, like the definition of the American dream town. But then when we came to know Christ, it opened up a whole nother world. And we quickly realized that what we were reading in the Bible and what we were seeing Jesus doing and telling those who called him Father to do and go and do, we weren't seeing it in small town USA. We weren't seeing it in the American dream box. We were seeing it outside that box. We just began driving up and down Highway 6, probably the most diverse highway in all of Houston area. And we began praying, and God kind of tugged on us to go to these apartments. And we didn't know the demographics, where they were from. We didn't know that yet. And we drove around in there, and we did a couple prayer walks, and there was just, the Lord was tugging on us. And we moved in.
We were excited to sell our house. We were excited to step into apartment community, living among Muslims full time.
2 weeks later, we've got a Pakistani Bible study. And then fast forward 5 months, we met a Pakistani family and we started a house church in their apartment. Fast forward another month, a Bible study started with the imam at the mosque across the street. And this was so key because all of our Pakistani neighbors, they go to that mosque. And that was just a pretty clear calling of the Lord putting Pakistanis on our hearts. We quickly understood the importance of language, learning the language, and very quickly started feeling the tug again, the tug that tugged us over to Havana Apartments. We started feeling that tug again, and we began praying about it. But we definitely were saying, Lord, are you sure you want us to move over to Pakistan? I think, we asked God, are you sure? Multiple times, and he's like, you need to quit asking that question. It's time to go. And okay, let's do this.
When we have seen God working in these ways among the Muslim communities, what we had in mind for the American dream looked so dull. This kingdom dream is so rich to watch the Lord working in these ways, and you see, gosh, we're so privileged, and I feel so rich to be a part of this. We can live in a low-income apartment community and watch the Lord working in such mighty ways that how could we go back to the American dream now? How could we look back on what we came from and still want that?
The number one thing that hits me is I'm not qualified enough. Well, let me tell you, you absolutely are qualified. I mean, we were living very comfortable, and I have no Bible college degree. I know the Lord doesn't call us to a comfy life or a cushy life, but I know that he provides, and he is a good father, and that may be painful sometimes, but is it worth it? Hands down. I mean, what's it gonna take to bring these gospel-deprived people to be no longer gospel-deprived? What's it gonna take? If that means me and my family are going over there for a couple years, let's go. It's worth it. And so we love to ask ourselves that question, what's it gonna take? Everything I have, Lord. Everything we have.
My name is Sarah John, and I've been a member of Sugar Creek for the last 20 years. So my family started going on missions back in 2010, so almost 12 years ago. We started traveling to Colombia, South America, and that's really how I fell in love with missions and telling people about Jesus. My dad leads the mission trips to Colombia from our church, and so it was a really neat experience to get to grow up going on mission trips, and especially doing missions with my family, because that's a really unique experience. During my time in college was when I really started to realize that missions is not just going somewhere to share about Jesus, but you can not just tell the gospel verbally, but you tell it through the way that you live. And I saw that modeled for me really well in college through the people that I had met. And so I started to realize that that was something that I could do in my own life, sharing the gospel through not just but what I say, but by the way that I live. Like every college senior, I think, I started to think about next steps, looking for a job, trying to figure out what was next. And I had been encouraged by a friend who was serving at my school to consider the possibility of coming back to school to serve for a year as a campus missionary intern. And I kind of put the idea aside, didn't think much about it, hoped that that was not the thing that the Lord was calling me to, because it felt like taking a year off from my career, taking a year off from what I felt like should come next. And as I thought and prayed about it, I really felt like the Lord was saying this was something that I needed to do, that I needed to stay back a year. And part of that was realizing that taking a year to serve where God was calling me was not taking a year off. It was just continuing to pursue and to follow Him in that path. It was really intimidating at the beginning to pursue that call, but it has turned out to be one of the most fulfilling and satisfying things that I could ever think of. It's easy to see a career as something that's personal or for us, but in reality, everything that we do is for God, and so taking a year to serve Him and to spend that time is kind of the best introduction to a career. I think there is a tendency to think that missions is for specific people, that God has called specific people to missions. But I think in reality, as believers, we're all called to missions and to ministry in whatever place that we are with whatever people that we're with, that's a place where God can use you to reach the people that you're with.
Una de las razones de por qué me he integrado y me he involucrado tanto en el departamento de misiones es porque realmente esto es lo que ha empoderado mi vida. Me ha hecho crecer, me ha hecho sentirme mucho mejor, no solamente porque aprendo, sino que también puedo compartir, tener relaciones con otras personas, conocer personas de otros lugares, saber cómo también conectar con ellos, entender sus necesidades. Realmente esto es algo que realmente ha cambiado y sigue transformando mi vida. Mi nombre es Jorge Carlos y tengo alrededor de 13 años sirviendo en Sugar Creek. Bueno, actualmente estamos también trabajando en el área de Richmond y Rosenberg, tratando de compartir el Evangelio de Cristo, llevando a la comunidad también por medio de despensas, ferias de comida, ferias comunitarias. Estamos tratando de alcanzar a esa comunidad. Bueno, en el área de Visual lo que estamos haciendo es, tenemos un tiempo de compartir, es caminar en las calles los días miércoles de 5:30 a 6:30. Estamos tocando cada puerta de los complejos de apartamento, estamos caminando alrededor de la comunidad porque hay tantas personas caminando que necesitan escuchar el Evangelio de Cristo. Y por supuesto, para la comunidad hispana, lo que estamos haciendo es los sábados teniendo una reunión de discipulado y de oración. Es el tiempo que tenemos con más intimidad con la comunidad, donde podemos conocerlos más. Y lo hacemos cada sábado de 4 de la tarde a 5 de la tarde. Una historia que realmente nos conmovió muchísimo. Se trataba acerca de una jovencita que venía de Guatemala, venía de un trasfondo en su familia con problemas de abuso, de maltrato, y entonces tratamos de ayudarla, tratamos de acogerla en nuestro hogar por unos días para que ella pudiera empezar a tener una nueva vida. Por supuesto, eso no fue algo que hicimos solamente nosotros. Sugar Creek, el ministerio en español por medio del pastor Juan Carlos, también obtuvimos ayuda en cuestión de consejería, y en muchas otras cosas que esta familia estuvo necesitando en el tiempo en el cual tuvimos la oportunidad de poder realmente impactar la vida de su familia y sobre todo que ellos también pudieron impactar nuestras vidas al entender cómo hay una enorme necesidad en la vida de estas personas que están llegando cada día a este país. Creo que esta es la vida que como creyentes Jesús quiere que nosotros también compartamos y también quiere que nosotros vivamos a través del servicio a los demás. Es una forma de cómo entender de forma correcta el Evangelio para poder uno mismo crecer y asimismo también enseñar y guiar a otros a que puedan conocer más acerca de Cristo.